Well guys, welcome back to the shop. I'm Chris with M7 Metalworks. We're gonna start reassembly of the PTO clutch today. Actually it's this evening. I've just finished putting in a bunch of seals for the PTO in the rear, this shaft in the front, as well as the lower shaft in the front here. And so we've got new seals, new O-rings, everything's pretty much new and went together really nice. So now what I want to do is I've got some parts in to rebuild this clutch pack. So I'd like to install that. If you recall, there's a set screw that goes into this, and then another set screw locks that PTO housing onto this shaft. And then we'll put the spider clutch assembly in. But first things first, let's start at the bit. Got our new parts. This is just the old disc. If you recall, I had one that survived, but I won't be using it. I just kept it for reference. These are my 6 new clutch discs, and then I ended up buying 4 clutch plates. So we'll use the clutch plates. We've got some new ones and a little bit of old as well mixed in there. Now I have done a few things. You know, obviously everything was cleaned up, but I've taken the orbital sander to this just to kind of clean that up a little bit. And then same thing on this side here, just to clean that up. I've cleaned up my edge here, and all I've done here is just put on a little bit of oil, just where the seal is at. So let's see if we can get that out of here. It's not a piece of pipe big enough to fit. It needs to fit over this and actually hit the housing here. So all right guys, so we've got that in now. Now we're going to put our nut on. Retaining nut. All right, very quickly here guys, just a simple tool that I made. This 1/2-inch drive, could have used 3/4. So that's one end. This is the other end. It's not meant to be pretty, it's just meant to be functional. It's barely dry at this point because I shot a little paint just to keep it rust free. At work here. So it just engages on that nut. And that doesn't have to be that long. All right. All right. Before I put this in, let me just show you something. In case you've forgotten, that set screw, the set screw goes right in there. So that's what we're going to do right now, is we're going to set this in place. There's our hole. And so we're going to put it in. Just need to give her a love tap. There we go. Okay, so there is our set screw. It's going to go in that hole right there. You can see where mine was. I'm guessing that the clutch pack kind of parts of it exploded in there and did their damage. This is a 3/16 Allen head, by the way. Took a little effort to get this on, but it's fairly loose right now. So I want to make sure that I stay over the hole precisely. I can't go this way with it because it's splined. It's a splined shaft, so but I can go forward and back a little bit. Okay, so I've just snugged it. Just want to make sure I'm centered in that hole real good, or at least as good as I can be. Now I'm gonna snug her, and now I'm gonna take the other jam nut. Okay, got that locked in now. So now we need to start putting our clutch together. You do a clutch disc first, then a plate. Try not to get oil on your plates. I've washed my hands 50 times now, so doing my best to not get oil on them. Another disc, another plate, final disc. There we go. All right. I did have to change this here, and I had it locked underneath the tube, and so I had to basically I just undid this bolt, slid the pipe out, got it in place, slid the pipe back. So just so you know not to do that same thing. And then now we're gonna look at putting this new throwout bearing in it, and I want to grease it up just a bit before we slide her in there, so I'll do that right now. Well, that's it for the PTO clutch rebuild. So I've got everything back in. I've lubed everything with a light coat of grease. A little bit of grease is good, too much is a problem. I've replaced this grease tube up top. I do need to replace that at some point. And the good news is I can get to that from underneath through that little housing port right there, that little hole. So anyways, everything's been put back in its place. I did take care of a little bit of linkage here, and I did replace the pin right there. Okay guys, we're ready to put this clutch back in. So I didn't do anything to this other than I took a little rag with some acetone and just took any grease or filth that might be on that. That's really it. So it's ready to go back on. It's nice and clean. It's got tons of life in it. I may never use that much clutch in my lifetime. So I've got one screw holding this pressure plate up there. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna see if we can't fit this behind. Remember, your hub goes toward the flywheel on these. And I'll get it approximate with the, there we go. Now I'll grab my alignment tool. Well, thought I would grab my alignment tool. There we go. All right. So I'm in the pilot right there, and I'm flush up against the clutch. There we go. Now I'm flush up against the clutch. All right. The minute I feel resistance, I stop. Well, my alignment isn't so good anymore, though. My alignment looks like it's off a bit. At this point, I cannot. Yeah, it's definitely off. Okay. All right, still looks good to me. It looks nice and straight. Well, guys, the Oliver service manual doesn't give us a precise torque value on this. So it talks about using grade 5 bolts, and that gives maximum torque values on those. So I think what I'll do is I'll just give these things a good hearty tightening, and we'll just call her good. All right, guys, that's it. She is in place. Give you a look right down the center. Try to give you a little bit of light. That may be too much. So, well, guys, that's going to do it for our clutch rebuild on the engine and on the PTO. I had a lot of fun doing this. I'm not done yet. I still got a lot of stuff I still got to repair and fix and get better. I got this power steering I've got to get figured out. Still looking for parts for that. I may end up having to change the pump on that. But I hope this has been something to help you guys. It's a lot of effort and work to film an entire clutch disassembly and reassembly on both the PTO and the engine clutch. So I hope it was worthwhile to you. I hope it really helps some of you, maybe give some of you some confidence to do it yourself. It's not a super hard job. It can get a little complicated back here with the PTO, just so many moving parts. So I would advise taking as many pictures and maybe a little video of your particular setup as you can. That way you can refer back to them. I actually had to refer back to my own videos, and that's not uncommon when I'm doing something that has a lot of parts and I've got a lot of things scattered all over the place. But I'm at the point now where I can put this tractor back together. So that's going to be, I think, the next step. If I can't get this little grease fitting that I didn't replace in the PTO and the lower PTO, I'll probably put it back together and just replace it through the opening in the bottom of the tractor. But anyways, guys, I hope that's been a help and a blessing to you. God willing, I'll see you on the next video. I'm Chris with M7 Metalworks. Have a good day. All right, guys, that's it for bolting it back together. I've got more bolts to put in, but those are the two main 15/16 bolts that hold that baby in. So I'm going to call it quits. It's pretty late. It's a little after 9 p.m. here in Indiana, and I'm tired. I've been out here for more than 12 hours. So we're going to call it a night, and we'll get back to this tomorrow morning.